What's up, you fools? Matt, ESC United, your favorite Eurovision channel, day 6 of rehearsals, and it was France, Bilal Hassani, the very anticipated rehearsal. And the question is, did it deliver or not? So, a few changes there in the revamp. Basically, was the first time we heard it. Your thoughts about it?
To be honest with you, I didn't really notice much of a revamp myself. I mean, I have to be clear from the start, this is quite low down my ranking personally. It's just not the song for me. I find the song just a bit too generic for my tastes personally, but I have to say that this was really one of the most impressive performances of the day. So obviously you've probably seen the clips on Eurovision's Instagram and on the YouTube channel, but basically we start out with holograms projections over Bilal's face. I think he's backstage, which does look quite effective, almost sort of stuttery and jittery and glitchy on his face, which is quite a unique effect. And then throughout the performance he's dancing with I would say a plus size ballerina he's got on stage, and then also a deaf dancer, and I think there's a real powerful message here that he's trying to get across. I think you have to be stupid basically to not get the message he's trying to get across here, because on the back of the stage he's got everything about, you know, social media and acceptance, bullying, you know, people not being accepted for who they are, and that's why he's got the ensemble of a cast on stage that he has. And I think it was a really powerful moment seeing it for the first time. I think the whole thing worked really well together. The camera angles actually did work out quite well from the first run through. Bilal himself is a very confident performer, and I think he brings that out in the people that he's with as well. And it's a visually striking performance. It's memorable. It elevates the song, and I think that's the most important thing here. So yeah, it was a really impressive first rehearsal for me, and that's me saying it as not particularly a fan of the song. So I think the only thing I would say is that some people, I've seen that France are already shooting up in the betting odds, and we know what the betting odds are like. I think maybe people have over-exaggerated it, and I know that sort of goes against what I've just said. It wasn't like it was a world beater performance, but I think with the song, I think they've done a really good and tasteful job here.
Yes. There is this thing often happen at Eurovision where the symbolism gets lost and we don't understand it. Yes, the delegation can say, yes, you see that star in the sky that represents the singer's insecurity. Like, I don't know that. That makes no sense to me. And you miss it. You can't miss it here. It makes sense. Yeah, it's really clear what it is. It's a message about self-acceptance, and no one can bring you down, basically. You know, people say you cannot reach that, become a ballerina because you're plus size. Well, look at her. She is pretty darn good. And the deaf dancer. And it was just inspiring. And maybe it come across to people like preachy. I don't think they've walked a good fine line with really showing self-empowerment without becoming too preachy, because it's really just focus on the positivity of someone else's character. So it doesn't feel uncomfortable or weird to me at all. It feels right. And I'm actually more like Sean, not a big fan of that song actually, but I genuinely enjoyed today's performance. It was very difficult to really listen to Bilal sing. The sound wasn't really loud, so it was a little bit difficult to hear everything. But it seems to me that he sings in a lower octave in the new revamp version, which really helps him to not miss the higher notes. And that was an issue in the national finals and all of that, so they got a little bit off here. So
I think one thing I'd say as well is that France have really learned their lessons from last year, because one of my biggest criticisms of the staging last year was that obviously Mercy was one of the bigger sort of fan favourites before the contest, and it just didn't quite work out, and obviously everyone knows where they finished. It was pretty much mid-table. One thing I had a criticism with France last year was that there was a really powerful message behind that song, and it didn't come across on screen. It didn't really explain itself, the song. I think this year, polar opposite. I think they've really changed. They've really looked at how they portray their message. They've still kept the French touch. They've still kept true to themselves in their own language, but I think they really have this year learned how to portray a message in a song and make sure that people know what it's about, because I think that, like I say, that was my main criticism last year. So I'm really pleased for them that they've managed to do that.
Yeah. So no, definitely a good rehearsal. I agree. Now they're gonna get to go again on Sunday, second round. What should they focus on, improve? Let me know.
It's a tricky one, because this is one where I feel like they've been working on this a lot behind the scenes, backstage, back in France, and I think just make sure that the choreography between the three of them, there was certain parts where maybe they missed the cue or they weren't quite on the same wavelength, with Bilal and the ballerina and the dancer. Just make sure that they're tight as a group, because I think the three of them, they seem to come across as like having a really good relationship, working relationship on screen. So as long as they can portray that, I think it really elevates the entry.
Yeah, considering this was the very first run through and rehearsal, the camera work was pretty good already. So I have very little to mention about that as well. The only thing I can see that was standing out to me was when he held that flashlight to his face, where he had that reflection. That was not quite in sync with his lips, because someone has like the lips, but the lips were high up, and then he didn't sing in unison.
Like I said, I'm not sure if that's part of the process. I'm not sure if that's what they're going for, because I mean, it's very difficult obviously to hold it in position, something like that. But personally, if that is a mistake, then obviously they do need to rectify that. But I think personally, I like the fact that it was a little bit glitchy, because it showed, maybe it's about the imperfections of social media. Maybe I'm overthinking it, Eurovision overthinking it, but I think I like that bit. I think it worked really well. But obviously, if that's not what they're going for, then yeah, they need to fix that as well.
Yeah. Well, this is to me though, it felt out of sync and confusing. I'm like, what is he doing? Like, is he supposed to sing along with it? So to me, that was mostly distracting. So that's the only thing, like, make it then look right. That was my only suggestion. Other than that, I think they're on the right path. That is my thought. So as you said, you watched already the clip on the YouTube channel or on Instagram. What do you think? Are you excited? Are you disappointed? Let us know. Leave your thoughts below in the comment section. I'll see you all around.